my beloved child, I need you to give me your full attention. I am not speaking this way to fill your heart with fear, but because my love for you will no longer allow me to stay silent. Time is moving more quickly than you realize, and what I am about to tell you cannot be delayed for a more convenient moment. This is urgent, and it is deeply personal. It is not meant for everyone, but it is meant for you. Do not put this off for another second. I have watched you walk through each day carrying burdens you cannot always explain. I have seen the weariness behind your strength, and I have seen your thoughts continue racing long after your body has finally come to rest. I have watched you brush aside those quiet impressions, the unexpected thoughts, and the moments when your heart suddenly grew heavy without any clear reason. Those moments were never random. They were my gentle voice reaching for you. I have been calling to you, and now I am speaking more clearly, not out of anger, but out of a love that refuses to give up on you. You did not arrive at this message by accident. You are hearing these words because something important is unfolding, and your awareness matters far more than you know. Listen carefully. Many people will pass by this moment, treating it as just another voice, another message, another warning they believe was never meant for them. Later, many of them will wish they had listened. It will not be because I punished them, but because they walked away from the protection, clarity, and peace I was freely offering. I do not want that for you. That is why I stepped into your day, and that is why my words carry such urgency. This is not fear speaking to you. This is love that sees what lies ahead and reaches back to draw you closer. Perhaps you already feel something stirring inside your heart, a quiet sense that these words carry a different weight and deserve your full attention. That feeling is there because something hidden is beginning to come into the light. Truths that have been buried beneath noise, routine, and comfort are now being uncovered. I am showing you what you could not clearly see before, not to overwhelm you, but to prepare you. If you remain with me in this moment, you will find protection and clarity. If you turn away, confusion and burdens you were never meant to carry will become much easier to bear alone. Do not convince yourself that there will always be more time. Do not tell yourself you will come back to this later, because later is not promised in the way you imagine. I am not speaking about the end of your life. I am speaking about a turning point, a crossing, a doorway that is open now, but will not remain open forever. I am asking you to stay present and listen with your heart, not only with your ears. Trust that I can see what you cannot, and that my urgency is always for your good. I know you live in a world where every voice claims to be urgent, and you have learned to protect yourself by tuning much of it out. But hear me now, this is different. I am not trying to sell you anything. I am reaching toward you because I want to spare you unnecessary pain. I want to shield you from what lies ahead if you continue without awareness. I want to guide you before confusion grows deeper and decisions become heavier. That is why I tell you again, do not wait another second. You are here because I allowed this moment. Despite your doubts, despite your exhaustion, despite every question you have carried about me, I still came to meet you. You may wonder, why me? Why now? It is because your heart is still tender enough to hear my voice. You are standing at a moment where one small decision to listen can begin changing the direction of the days ahead. I am not asking you to understand everything today. I am simply asking you to remain with me. Walking away from this moment comes with a cost, not punishment, not a curse, but a loss. It is the loss of peace, the loss of clarity, and the loss of the quiet protection that comes from recognizing my voice. If you stay, if you listen, and if you allow my words to settle within you, there is a covering waiting for you. I am offering that to you now. I am placing truth before confusion, light before darkness, and rest before your exhaustion grows even deeper. That is why my words carry urgency, and why I cannot soften what needs to be spoken. You may feel resistance rising within you, a desire to move away from the weight of what you are hearing. That resistance does not come from me. It comes from the fear of change and from facing what has been left untouched. Yet I have not come to shame you. I have come to walk beside you, to prepare you, and to love you enough to speak when silence would have been easier. My love never rushes you, but neither does it allow you to sleep through danger. Hear me clearly. Staying close to me now will bring protection, and listening will bring understanding. Turning away will leave you carrying questions and burdens you were never meant to bear. I am not threatening you. I am warning you the way a loving father warns a child who cannot yet see the danger ahead. I would rather interrupt you today than watch you struggle tomorrow and wonder why life became so heavy. So take a breath. Be still. Let your heart grow quiet. Set everything else aside for this moment. Do not divide your attention. Give me these moments and you will never regret it. I am not finished speaking to you. What follows matters deeply for your peace, your direction, and your future. That is why I say again, with love and urgency woven together, do not wait another second. Stay with me. Listen, this moment was meant for you, and I have not overlooked you. My child, I have interrupted your routine because time is short, not to fill you with fear, but to awaken your attention. I know how familiar your days have become. You wake up, carry your responsibilities, make your plans, endure what comes, and prepare yourself to do it all again tomorrow. You have learned to keep moving even while your heart feels heavy and your spirit grows tired. I have watched you do this with a strength you often do not recognize in yourself. But now, with honesty and gentleness, I want you to hear me. There are moments when love must interrupt routine, when truth steps into an ordinary day and quietly says, "This cannot wait." This is one of those moments. Type Amen. I receive it, Lord, if you are ready to receive His blessing today. Divine interruptions never come to steal your peace. They come because your peace is being threatened in ways you cannot yet see. Whenever I interrupt, it is never random or impulsive. It is not because I suddenly noticed you. I have always seen you. I step into your path because something is changing, and living on autopilot will no longer protect you. There are seasons when rest is healthy, and there are seasons when comfort quietly becomes a trap. You are moving out of a season of comfort, even if that comfort was mixed with pain. Familiar pain can sometimes feel safer than unfamiliar change. I did not create you to remain where you are simply because it feels familiar. The season of comfort is ending, not because I want to remove your security, but because I want to awaken your awareness. Comfort can slowly dull discernment. It can make you slower to recognize danger, slower to hear my voice, and slower to respond when I give direction. I have given you time. I have been patient while you healed, while you questioned, and while you hesitated. I never rushed you, and I never shamed you. But now patience must give way to urgency, not because I am angry, but because delay is no longer safe for your heart or for your future. Humanized text. There was a season when waiting carried very little cost. That season is passing. Delay now has consequences. Delay allows confusion to take root, and it gives space for things to grow that were never meant to remain in your life. You may not recognize them yet, but I do. I see distraction quietly finding its way into your heart. I see numbness settling where passion once burned, and I see compromise disguising itself as wisdom. That is why I am speaking to you now. Remaining silent would be easier, but love does not choose what is easy. Love chooses what protects. I have been patient with you far longer than you realize. I spoke in whispers. I nudged your heart with gentleness. I stayed with you through your questions, your doubts, and the prayers you barely had the strength to finish. I was never absent. I was giving you room to grow without fear. But there comes a time when a whisper is no longer enough. Not because my voice has changed, but because the world around you has. The season you are living in is changing. Life is moving faster. Pressure continues to build. Confusion grows louder with every passing day, and hearts without a firm foundation will feel that shaking. I am telling you this to prepare you, not to frighten you. You are not being singled out for harm. You are being called to greater awareness. That is why this message has reached you. Many people will not receive these words. Some will dismiss them. Some will mock them. Others will resist the urgency they hear. Yet you are still here, still listening, and that says something about your heart. It is not perfection that has brought you to this moment. It is your willingness to listen, even when truth stretches you beyond what feels comfortable. I am not interrupting your life because you have failed. I am interrupting because I trust you with what I am saying. I see strength in you that you often overlook. I see compassion, depth, and a heart that is still willing to hear my voice. That is why I say these words are not for everyone. They are for those who are willing to pause, to reflect, to feel deeply, and to respond. The world is entering a season where distraction will be celebrated while discernment is often dismissed. Noise will continue to increase, and truth will require a quiet heart to recognize it. Many will choose comfort instead of clarity. I am not calling you into panic. I am calling you to remain alert. When you walk with me intentionally, you are far less likely to lose your way. But when you slowly drift, even in ways that seem small, you become vulnerable before you realize it. That is why delay is no longer safe. Delay weakens obedience. Delay persuades you that tomorrow will be easier, that you can always respond later. Yet later often carries a heavier burden than today. I am not asking you to make fearful or reckless decisions. I am asking you to listen carefully and remain close to me. Urgency is not chaos. Urgency is knowing what matters most and responding while clarity is still within reach. If this message has encouraged your walk with God and you would like to support this work, you can do so through the QR code or the support link provided in the description. I know a part of you hopes that nothing difficult will happen if you simply ignore this moment. I will speak honestly with you. Ignoring my voice does not bring destruction, but it does invite unnecessary struggle. It allows confusion where clarity could have guided you, and heaviness where peace could have remained. I do not want you to learn through pain what you could have learned by listening. That is why I interrupt your routine. That is why I am speaking now. Do not misunderstand my heart. I am not leading you out of comfort as a punishment. I am inviting you forward because growth requires movement, protection requires awareness, and love always speaks with honesty. I am not pushing you away from me. I am drawing you closer, yet closeness now requires intention. Passive faith will not sustain you through what lies ahead. I am not asking you to be perfect. I am asking you to be present. Stay with me. Listen when I speak. Respond when I guide you. That is all I ask. You are not walking through this season alone. I am not sending you ahead without direction. I am walking beside you one step at a time. Still, I will never force you, because love does not force. I interrupt because you matter. I interrupt because I see the road before you. I interrupt because what lies ahead calls for clarity, and clarity begins with listening today. Let these words settle into your heart. You are not being threatened. You are being invited into greater awareness. You are not being driven by fear. You are being called to pay attention. This message does not need to be for everyone. It is for you in this moment because your heart is still willing to hear me. Stay open. Stay still. Let my urgency lead you toward peace instead of panic. I am with you, and I will continue speaking because time is short and love refuses to remain silent when protection is needed. My child, what you are about to hear will bring hidden things into the light. It is not meant to shame you or overwhelm you. It is meant to help you see clearly. There are realities beyond what your eyes naturally notice, and beyond what your mind has been trained to recognize. You live surrounded by noise, constant movement, endless opinions, and countless demands for your attention. In the middle of all that, truth can become difficult to hear. I am revealing these things because the time has come for clearer sight, not because you failed to notice them before. Seeing more clearly is often gentle. It is like stepping into a room that has been dim for a long time and slowly watching the light fill every corner. Beneath your ordinary days, there are unseen realities at work. You sense them in unexplained restlessness, in confusion that lingers without an obvious cause, and in the quiet feeling that something is still missing even when life appears full. Those feelings are not signs of weakness. They are signals from your soul longing for truth while surrounded by constant distraction. Understand this well. Not everything that shapes your life announces itself loudly. Some influences work slowly and quietly until they begin to feel normal. Deception rarely arrives looking dangerous. More often it appears as comfort without purpose, distraction without genuine rest, or information without wisdom. It keeps you busy so you never become still enough to recognize what your heart has been carrying. It whispers that numbness is peace, and that avoiding the truth is the same as finding rest. But numbness is never peace, and silence that hides from truth can never become true rest. I have seen how you have learned to cope by pushing down your emotions, lowering your expectations, and convincing yourself that this is simply how life is meant to feel. That belief did not come from me. Distraction has become so familiar that it now feels ordinary. You move from one thing to the next, filling every quiet moment with noise, endless thoughts, or constant worries, not because you truly desire it, but because stillness feels uncomfortable. Yet stillness often reveals the very things you have been trying to avoid. So hear me gently now. Stillness is where truth begins to speak. Humanized text. Truth is what brings real freedom. I am not calling you to withdraw from the world around you. I am calling you to become aware of my presence within it. Confusion has settled over your thoughts, because too many voices have been competing for your attention, and restlessness has followed because your spirit was created for something deeper than living only on the surface. You have carried a kind of weariness that sleep alone could never remove, because your soul has been holding questions that remained unanswered. That does not mean something is wrong with you. It means something within you is beginning to awaken. Before clarity comes, it is often accompanied by discomfort. There are beliefs you have accepted, not because you were careless, but because you heard them so often they began to sound like truth. You told yourself, this is simply how life is. You believed you were too far behind to change, that everything would fall apart if you slowed down, that by now you should have been stronger, or that your opportunity had already passed. Those thoughts never came from truth. They came from fear disguised as realism. I am bringing them into the light so they no longer have authority over your heart. Perhaps you have also believed that I was distant, that I spoke only to people who seemed more spiritual than you, or that your confusion somehow kept you from hearing my voice. None of that is true. I have never stopped speaking. There are simply seasons when the noise around you must grow quieter so you can hear the voice that has been there all along. I have not become harder to find. The world has simply become louder. Now I am teaching you how to listen again. As these things come into the light, emotions you have buried for a long time may begin to rise. You may feel tenderness, grief, relief, or even anger. Do not push those feelings away. Emotional awakening is part of spiritual awakening. Feeling again is not weakness. It is life returning to places within you that have been silent for too long. You were never meant to live disconnected from your own heart. You were created to walk in truth, grounded in love, and aware of my presence with you. Truth is patient, but it is also honest. I will be gentle with you, yet I will also speak clearly. Some of what you are carrying comes from beliefs that were never meant to remain in your life. Some of the heaviness you feel has come from trying to live according to expectations that do not reflect who I created you to be. I am not asking you to repair everything all at once. I am asking you to see with honesty. Honest sight is the first step toward freedom. I am calling you back to truth, not merely as an idea to understand, but as a relationship to walk in. As you walk with me, confusion gradually loosens its grip. As you listen for my voice, distraction loses its control over your pace. As you trust my guidance, the restlessness within you begins to settle. This transformation is not instant, but it begins the moment you choose to remain open. Comment, thank you, Jesus, for guiding me, if he has been your compass through the darkest moments. There will be times when what I reveal challenges, beliefs you have carried for years. That does not mean you are broken or that you have been rejected. It means you are growing. Growth stretches what once felt comfortable, and greater clarity often comes after seasons of discomfort. I am with you through every part of this journey. I will never reveal truth and then leave you to carry it alone. I walk beside you with steady love, offering guidance, strength, and presence. Do not be afraid of what is coming into the light. Hidden things are revealed so they lose their power to wound you in secret. Light exposes what needs healing, not to condemn you, but to restore you. Healing begins with honesty, and you are able to face what is being uncovered because you are not facing it by yourself. I remain with you, guiding you, comforting you, correcting you when necessary, and loving you through every step. Allow yourself to awaken. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to ask questions and learn again. You do not need every answer today. You only need to stay with me as truth continues to unfold. I am not placing a burden on you. I am inviting you into greater clarity, and that clarity will bring a peace far deeper than the numbness you once mistook for rest. Stay open, my child. What is coming into the light is the beginning of freedom. You have heard warnings before, but I want you to receive these words differently. Listen without fear, without shame, and without feeling the need to defend yourself. I am not bringing your past before you to accuse you. I am reminding you because, when held in love, memory can become the doorway to wisdom. There were moments when I gently stirred your heart. There were quiet whispers that urged you to pay attention, and moments when an unexplained uneasiness settled within you. Those moments were never random. They were gentle warnings placed along your path to protect you, guide you, and slow your steps before your choices became heavier. You remember some of them. You remember plans that unexpectedly fell apart, doors that remained closed despite your efforts, seasons of unexplained restlessness, and moments when you delayed something important only to wonder later if you should have listened sooner. Those were never failures. They were invitations. I was speaking then, but my voice came softly because your heart needed gentleness in that season. You were already carrying enough, and I did not want to overwhelm you. Many of those gentle warnings went unnoticed, not because you did not care, but because you were exhausted. You were doing everything you could just to keep moving forward, trying to meet the expectations placed on you by others, and the expectations you placed on yourself. When the soul grows weary, discernment becomes quieter. When the heart is overloaded, clarity can feel more like pressure than guidance. I understood that. I saw every part of it, and I never turned away from you because of it. Some of those promptings were set aside simply because they did not seem urgent. They felt like thoughts you could revisit another day, questions you could answer later, or feelings you could push aside, until life became less busy. Life kept demanding your attention. Responsibilities continued to pile up, and it seemed easier to keep moving than to stop and reflect. That is part of being human, and I understand it. I do not condemn you for those moments, and I do not use regret to hold you captive. Regret has never been my instrument. There were also times you resisted my guidance because it challenged what felt familiar. Sometimes truth asks you to release what has become comfortable, even when it is no longer healthy. Sometimes my direction asks you to step away from what you know before you can see where I am leading you. That kind of trust is difficult, especially after you have been hurt. I know why you learned to protect yourself. I know why you became cautious. I honored that season, but the very protections that once helped you endure can eventually become limits if they are never brought into the light and examined. Humanized text. Listen to me carefully now. I have always been patient with you. I have never measured my pace by my power, but by what your heart was able to carry. When you needed time, I gave it to you. When uncertainty surrounded you, I stayed close beside you. I never pushed you into changes you were not yet prepared to bear, and that patience has never disappeared. But patience does not mean I remain silent forever. There comes a moment when love must speak more plainly because ignoring the truth becomes far more costly than hearing it. That is why my urgency feels different now. Before, my warnings were gentle invitations to make small adjustments. Now they are invitations to make a choice. There was a time when you could step away and return later with little consequence. That season is passing. Delay now carries greater weight. The path before you is becoming narrower, not to trap you, but to guide your steps with greater precision. As your choices become more significant, my direction becomes more specific. I am not speaking more firmly because I am angry. I am speaking with greater clarity because the season has changed. As you think back on moments you missed, words you overlooked, or steps you postponed, you may feel regret begin to rise. Do not allow regret to become shame. Shame tells you that you are unworthy, and that voice does not come from me. Wisdom reminds you that you are learning, and that voice does. I am bringing your past before you not to imprison you, but to free you from repeating patterns that no longer belong in your life. You are not behind. You are becoming more aware. I want you to hear me today, my child. Andy, when you ignored my earlier warnings, I never walked away from you. Even when you chose a different path than the one I showed you, I remained beside you. Even when your decisions brought consequences, I walked through every one of them with you. That is mercy. That is patience. That is love that refuses to abandon those it loves, even when it is misunderstood. That same love is speaking to you now, not with frustration, but with steady resolve. This warning feels different because the world around you has changed. Life moves more quickly. Distractions have grown louder. The weight of every decision has become greater. What once could be corrected slowly now requires your attention today. I am not asking you to live in fear. I am asking you to live in fear. I am asking you to live with awareness. Awareness is not anxiety. It is living in alignment with my guidance. When you walk closely with me, urgency no longer feels like panic. It becomes clarity. I am not saying these things to make you afraid that you will miss something. I am saying them because a new opportunity is before you, and I want you to be ready for it. Earlier warnings were given to protect you. This one is also meant to direct you. I am not only leading you away from harm, I am leading you toward the purpose that now requires your attention. That begins with your willingness to listen today instead of waiting for another time. You are not being corrected as though you have been cast aside. You are being invited into deeper trust, deeper awareness, and greater honesty with yourself and with me. I am not asking you to revisit your past with sorrow. I am asking you to carry its lessons with humility. You are wiser now than you were before. You know what it feels like to ignore those quiet promptings in your heart, and even those experiences have prepared you to recognize my voice more clearly today. This warning is different because it is no longer distant or uncertain. It is present. It is here. I am speaking while clarity is still available, while the opportunity to choose remains open, and while peace can still be preserved. I am not closing doors behind you. I am opening a way forward, but that path requires your attention, your presence, and your willingness to keep walking with me. Stay here with me. Do not rush past this moment. Do not dismiss what you are hearing. You are not being overwhelmed. You are being lovingly guided. I have been patient, and I remain patient still. Yet now I am also speaking with greater precision. This message will not be received by everyone. Many will hear it and set it aside once again. But you are still listening, and that matters. It tells me that your heart is ready for what comes next. Let go of regret. Release shame. Receive clarity. I am not repeating these words because you have failed. I am speaking again because you are ready to respond in a different way. This warning is not clear because you are weaker. It is clearer because you are stronger. As always, I remain with you, leading you forward with truth, mercy, and love that never gives up. My child, listen carefully to what I am about to say. Receive these words with honesty, not fear. If you ignore this moment, you will enter a season that could have been avoided. I say this with the sorrow of a loving father who sees farther down the road than the child who is walking it. My words are not spoken in anger or as a threat. They are spoken because I see a loss that never had to become yours. That loss does not come because I withhold my love. It comes when the love I freely offer is left unreceived. Whenever I warn you, it is never because I desire to control you. It is because I desire to protect you. I have given you free will, and I honor that gift completely. I will never force you to listen, and I will never drag you into obedience, but I must still speak the truth with honesty. Some seasons repeat, not because fate is against you, but because lessons have been postponed. Some cycles return, not because you are weak, but because I too late. Ignoring this moment will not bring destruction, but it can lead you back into the very patterns you have already asked me to help you leave behind. You know those patterns well. You know how the heaviness quietly returns instead of arriving all at once. You know the exhaustion that comes from carrying questions with no answers, and the strange feeling of moving forward while remaining in the same place. You know what it feels like to ask yourself, how did I end up here again? That is not proof that you have failed. It is a sign that something has become misaligned. I do not want you to walk through that season again if it can be avoided. If you turn away now, the protection I am offering you will not disappear, but you will no longer experience it in the same way. Protection often comes through awareness, through listening, and through choosing to remain close to me. When you slowly drift away, you are still loved, but you become more vulnerable to confusion, unnecessary struggle, and burdens you were never meant to carry. I never remove my hand from your life, yet distance can make it more difficult for you to recognize my guidance when you need it most. This is what I mean when I speak of loss. I am not speaking of losing salvation, your worth, or my love for you. I am speaking of the peace you could have experienced, the clarity that was being offered, the rest you were invited to receive, and the direction that could have spared you many long nights filled with questions. I see those nights before they ever arrive. That is why I am speaking to you now. Not humanized text. There is a kind of heaviness that slowly returns whenever truth is left behind. It does not arrive with loud warnings or sudden alarms. Instead, it settles quietly, almost unnoticed, wearing the disguise of something familiar, something you believe you already know how to carry. Yet over time, it drains your strength. Joy begins to feel farther away, and hope becomes harder to hold on to. I have seen you carry that burden before. I have heard you ask me to take it from you, and through every moment I have remained patient. But my patience does not mean I stay silent when there is another path before you. I want you to understand my heart clearly. I am not saying listen or suffer. I am saying listen so you do not have to carry suffering that could have been avoided. Pain exists in this world, but wisdom helps lighten its weight. Obedience is not about following rules for their own sake. It is about living in harmony with the truth. When your life is aligned with that truth, burdens become lighter. When you resist it, those burdens grow heavier. Not because I am punishing you, but because every choice carries its own consequence. My heart is heavy when I think about you turning away from these words. It is not because your choice offends me. It is because I already know what follows when clarity is ignored. I know how discouragement quietly enters when direction is postponed. I know how doubt grows wherever certainty fades. I know how easily you begin blaming yourself when what you truly needed was my guidance. I do not want you to mistake my silence for abandonment ever again. I do not want you to enter another season wondering why life feels heavier than it needed to be. The choice has always been yours, and I honor that completely. Love without freedom would not be love at all. Yet freedom also carries responsibility, and responsibility requires truth. That is why I am speaking honestly to you now, not to frighten you, but to help you see clearly. Remaining with me in this moment opens the way to protection and clarity. Walking away does not close my heart toward you, but it can lead you back into the same fog you have already struggled to leave behind. This warning carries weight because you matter deeply to me. If you did not matter, silence would have been easier. Silence would avoid misunderstanding. Silence would let you drift without interruption. But love refuses to remain silent. Love warns. Love is willing to be misunderstood if that is what it takes to protect what is precious. And you are precious to me. I know how much you value standing on your own. I have seen how you learned to depend on yourself because others were not always dependable. I honor the strength that helped you endure. Yet there are seasons when surrender becomes wiser than self-reliance. Not because you are weak, but because you are human. Carrying every burden alone is not strength when help is being offered. Ignoring guidance is not courage when clarity is within reach. I am not asking you to change everything today. I am simply asking you not to let this moment pass by. Stay present. Stay open. Stay willing. That is all I ask of you. One moment of paying attention today can spare you from miles of unnecessary struggle tomorrow. One decision to listen now can keep you from seasons of confusion later. That is how my love works. It does not raise its voice to intimidate you. It speaks with clarity because it desires to protect you. So I say this again with sorrow, never with threat. If you choose to ignore this, you will enter a season you were never meant to walk through. If these words reflect the trust in your own heart, write, Amen. My heart trusts you, and if you believe in His promises, share this video with someone who may need this message today.